It is simply the next piece of the news cycle with Shohei Ohtani. This is not a big whopper or bopper, but I think everything that comes out with him, we're going to have to sort of pull it apart and see how it makes us feel. The next step is that the representatives for Shohei Ohtani are now asking for an official investigation into the theft. The theft, of course, is simply an accusation from those representatives, an accusation toward his interpreter saying that the $4.5 million wire from Shohei's account directly to an illegal bookmaker was theft. And I can only tell you how I translate this is that they are out there right now trying to sort of firm up the feel around their lie.
Dude, if you stole $100 from me, you would not see me laughing and joking with you in the dugout.
Nope.
This is $4.5 million.
Correct.
If this guy stole that from Shohei, they wouldn't have been in the dugout yucking it up in the ninth inning of the game the other night.
I don't even think it's possible. That's great evidence that you're talking about, but I'm going to go something to a completely different angle. I do not think in 2024 that you can accidentally wire something.
Yeah.
You can't do, like, my God. I mean, I know people are going to go, but they were really close. Maybe he's got the codes or what. Like,
no,
you cannot go wire something. Again, this was not like money in an envelope. This was a wire transfer. You can't do that from someone else's account, especially not $4.5 million.
There's married couples that have separate accounts that don't know the passwords to accounts.
Most people don't know their own passwords to their accounts.
I'm terrible at that. What the hell?
I mean, so that's where, for me, this is just a hard stop. Especially since they changed their story once. It wasn't a theft. It was covering for a buddy. Then it turned into a theft. I don't believe it can be a theft. Now they're asking publicly for an investigation of the theft, which to me feels like they're trying to make their claim of theft sound like a real claim. That's my translation of it.
Do you think they can rig it so it is a theft? So
they already have.
No, but like get evidence and arrest him, and he's going to jail now, and he's really wearing it for Ohtani. Or just wearing it because he did it. But I think there's a debt there. I'm buying the fact that he had a gambling problem. And I could be super gullible there. It could be all Shohei. I don't know. Could be. I don't know.
Right.
But is he going to get thrown in jail because of this? And they're going to like fabricate an electronic trail that he actually did this? Because he's not. I'm going back to their interaction in the dugout. You don't sit there and be like, hey, and they're like, in the ninth inning, if you just stole $4.5 million, I don't care how much money you have. If you're a billionaire, $4.5 million is a lot of money. No matter who you are, it's a lot of money.
Correct.
It's $4.5 million. That's a lot of money. He didn't steal that.
Nope. And there's not going to be an investigation because I don't believe there is any evidence to warrant an investigation, which is why it's safe to just be like, we'd like to ask for an investigation. And they'll be like, well, nobody, you know what I mean? Like, feel this right now. Do you feel the feds? Like, this is a federal case.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the feds are poking around?
No.
Like, hey, let's get this guy.
If I'm in the FBI right now, I say this is an improper allocation of our resources, and we don't have time for this crap.
If this guy went to ESPN and said Shohei paid for me, and then the story changed the next day, and it became theft, wouldn't he be arrested?
Yeah.
I have not seen an arrest. I did see him in the dugout a night and a half ago.
They're going to spin this and push this as far as they can.
Totally.
Till it goes away. But somebody's got to address it. Like Stan Kasten was there. I'm trying to think. Andrew Friedman was there.
Sure.
And they were all saying nothing. Nobody said anything last night.
Right.
Dave Roberts said, we're not going to talk about it. We're here to play baseball.
And they're totally helped right now by their client / player / almost $1 billion employee.
And there was a bomb threat.
Doesn't speak English.
Bomb threat opening day.
So like they can completely conduct or concoct the whole, like, he's got to speak to the media. By the way, Shohei does speak some English. He won't this week. I guarantee you that. So the whole thing is, I just want to keep saying that. I don't know what happened. I know you don't know what happened. I can simply tell you that when you tell me something happened, I get to tell you whether I believe it or not. And the story that's out there right now, I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all.
And the one thing I keep going back to is if Shohei did have a gambling debt and he was a bettor, it wouldn't be $4.5 million. He'd have a bigger debt than that. And he wouldn't, if you're that rich, you don't pay off, you keep a marker for 4.5 if you're that rich.
Sure.
And then you pay it off when it comes time to have your legs broke or something. Like, that's when you have to pay it off. 4.5, I think, I'm going to let Shohei Ohtani slide with 4.5 if he's got $700 million. I know he's good for 4.5.
I also think this, when you're that big of a celebrity, and let's be honest, this is an international super celebrity. There's no way that people like that, and he's been that kind of a celebrity internationally for a while, there's no way someone like that is that stupid. Yeah, just wire it to him from my account. I'm sorry, to an illegal bookmaker, there's no way Shohei's that dumb.
And if he was betting, he wouldn't actually be betting. His interpreter would be.
I mean,
if I'm Shohei and I like to bet, I'm not betting. We're talking behind closed doors, totally. Dude. I got the Niners covering 7.5. They go do it.
You should have known the Niners do not cover in the playoffs.
Go do it, bro. Go do it.
Chris Rose, MLB Network, was on the roast with it was actually Spadone in for Bonte and Joe Shasky. And here's what he said about the situation.
Here's what I would say, guys, is that I think the people that are saying, well, Ippei is a fall guy for Shohei Ohtani, it's way too early to say anything like that, and it's also not nothing. So here's what has to happen, in my opinion, and I'm sure it won't. Major League Baseball has to have a press conference. And it won't happen because Rob Manfred is not comfortable speaking in front of the media. It's just not, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like to, they really did him a disservice when they gave him the job. They should have given him PR classes. No joke. Like, he needs to be in front of a camera today. And I don't care if it's from Seoul, South Korea. I don't care if it's from I don't care. He has to get in front of it because it is we're talking about the face of the sport and a global sporting icon whose name has now been attached to a federal investigation over illegal bookmaking.
So they won't. He's right. I mean, it's too late. You can't get out ahead of it. They're behind it right now. They're way behind it.
Who gave the interpreter the green light to go do the ESPN interview?
So supposedly Shohei's people.
And the reasoning, in my opinion, was that you go tell him you have a gambling problem and it gets Shohei off the hook.
Right.
Because the money's directly linked to his account. So I want you to go admit everything or even embellish a little bit and exaggerate that you just had a problem.
Right. But then
it's linked to his account now. So he's guilt by association.
And you're speaking to MLB's partner in ESPN, and MLB hears that and goes, I'm sorry, excuse me? No, we're not doing this. So now we've got to turn it into he stole it and keep our prized employee totally clean.
But nobody's buying this.
Nobody's buying it.
And they're sitting in a back room and they say, okay, here's what we do. Here's our PR campaign now. The attorneys, these guys that are way smarter than me. Let's say he stole it. Wait, stole it? Like he stole the money after he just admitted that he had a gambling problem? And now we're just going to say that he got the money out of Shohei's account and took it for himself? Like, we're going to change the story 100% and do a 180 here. We're going to change the story. And everyone's going to buy it. The smart people thought of this. Because I guess where else would you go, Mark? What other way could you wiggle out of this?
What other believable thing could you say?
Spit the hook. How are they going to spit the hook here?
See, I wouldn't have done that. I would have fallen on the sword. You were fine where you were. Is it illegal? Sure. Slap on the wrist. And from an emotional standpoint, your fan base is going to be, oh, Shohei, what a nice guy. Like, that sucks. I would have done the whole whoopsie daisy
until
you find out that he bet on the Dodgers minus the run line
or the Angels.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I wonder, because the bottom line is emotionally to the fans out there. If you had just said, "Look, guy got in some trouble. Shohei's his best friend. He walked in. He paid off the bet. He shouldn't have done it with his own account. That was a whoops. This is not legal. Whatever you want to do.
Slap on the hand.
Pay a fine, sit out a game, do whatever. The public would have been not tripped up at all.
And
now,
when they keep digging, and rats always talk,
we'll see.
They're going to find out that there's baseball involved. And that's why they're trying to distance themselves.
Maybe.
And like I said on yesterday's show, if you missed it, if I'm in $4.5 million debt with Gambler, I'm not going to bet on Duke women's basketball to chase. I'm going to bet on what I know. I'm having dinner with these guys. They're talking about how this guy played drunk last night and how this guy's going through a divorce and this guy's arm is hanging by a thread. This guy got a cortisone shot in his hamstring yesterday because he can barely walk. This guy, his confidence is so rattled, he's a basket case. That's all he does is talk about, I'm getting released, I'm getting released, I'm getting released. And you get all this information because you're in the clubhouse, on the bus, on the plane, in the dugout. And you're not going to bet that way to recoup 4.5? I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am. That's all I know. I'm getting inside information.
And
I flipped coins in my head a couple of times about things I knew by being with the team every day. When I never did. I've never bet. Well, I haven't bet since like 2007. And I did have a way to wager on some games here or there.
Baseball games?
No, I've never bet on baseball.
No. Yeah. Well, you're in a March Madness pool.
Yeah.
That's gambling.
I was basketball and football. But like I can see if I'm up against it and Frankie Two Shots is going to break my legs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bet what I know. I am. I think anybody out there would if you had just a little inside information.
Well, here's the question. And you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Right now, we're totally speculative, but if I asked you, we sit here on Thursday, and here are the two possible truths. One, Shohei's guy got in trouble and he paid it off and he did it in a way that he wasn't supposed to do it. Or we got this story that the house now switched and they say that the money was stolen from Shohei. In which case do you feel like Shohei comes off in a better light?
The first one.
Agreed. I am less trusting of Shohei Ohtani today than I would have been if you had simply stuck with he stepped up for his guy.
Because he could.
And he whoopsie-daisied by doing it directly from his account to an illegal bookmaker. And you're bringing up a great question right now.
I am?
Yes. Because now my mind's really spinning.
About?
Because if he did just do that, if he did just pay for his guy, $4.5 million, and oops, wire, shouldn't have done it that way, that doesn't feel worth it to be like, oh, we can't have that get out. Now we got to make up a story that it's theft. Unless
there's baseball involved.
Unless there's something way bigger.
Baseball.
Yep.
Or the big lefty involved in baseball. I think when it's rats talk, if the FBI and the feds are talking to the third party guy, who I don't know his name or nor do I care, where the money was going to and into his account, he's going to talk. He's going to sing like a canary, Mark. And then you're going to find out that, I don't know what you're going to find out. But there's a reason why they're trying to backtrack here. And it's not just if you're implicated, it's from your account, you're going to get suspended for a month. I think there's more to this. Or does Major League Baseball just make it go away? I don't know.
Do you know that the story of Ohtani transferring the money to cover for it's Ipe, right?
Yeah, Ipe.
That story was originally told by Ohtani's representatives. So they started that. That came from them.
Dude, come on.
And then they changed their story. And I'm supposed to believe a damn word that comes out of their mouths.
Look, you're going to wear this for us. Ipe, you're going to wear this whole thing for us. This is how this is going to go down. I like conspiracy theories.
Oh, look at this.
I get off on this.
I'm getting deeper into the story right now.
Let's go.
Now I've got, because they were questioned, why the changing storylines? On Thursday, that's today, a source close to Ohtani gave an explanation for the changing storylines. As Ohtani's handlers tried to determine what had happened, they initially relied solely on Mizuhara, who continued to translate for Ohtani. So they are saying the reason that the storyline is changing is because originally they were only talking to the interpreter and bought his story, which they now are saying was a lie.
And they investigated further, and they found out that he stole the money.
So now I'm supposed to believe that Ohtani's reps spoke to his interpreter and then went to ESPN without asking their client if it was true? You guys suck at this. That's what I think. I think you all stink at PR. That's what I think. Damage control.
Dude, there's $700 million at stake here.
You are bad at it.
Or $680 million, whatever it is. There's a lot of money. There's beyond a lot of money at stake. It's a historic contract in sports at stake. And reputation and the Hall of Fame and the greatest player that ever walked the planet when it's all said and done.
I think Austin and San Jose is a little mad at us.
That's fun. We're fun. We're having fun.
You want to talk? I don't. To me, it's not about fun.
I mean, one hitter can't fix a game, but if you pitched and hit, that would be a different story.
I'm not accusing anybody of gambling. I'm simply like, they're telling me a story, and I'm responding by saying I don't believe.
And we're thinking out loud on the air, and we're trying to figure out what happened.
Let's hear what he has to say. Hi, Austin. What's up?
Hey, guys. Listen, Mark, I just want to be kind of set the other side of this. I mean, I'm listening to this commentary, and I don't know Ohtani from anybody, and I you guys I listen to, but it sort of sounds to me like you guys are kind of impugning this guy's reputation without all the facts. I mean, we don't know that he had anything to do with. Perhaps he could have just had a bad family member to have to be an interpreter that did something that he didn't know about. I mean, so why are we all of a sudden assuming that we're trying to find a smoking gun that may not even be there, Willard? So it kind of sounds like you're going down this road. And what if he were a Giant? Would you be going this way if he were a Giant? I mean, let's try to be objective here, man, and not come off as a homer because this guy doesn't play for the Giants. That's what I'm hearing here. Am I wrong? Am I right or wrong?
You're wrong. You're wrong. And let me tell you why, Austin. And I totally respect where you're coming from and what you're saying. And it's kind of hard for me to translate that whole idea of what if he were a Giant, because I'm not accusing him of gambling or, quite frankly, anything. In fact, Shohei Ohtani is sort of off to the side here as far as what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a story is being told to us, the public, by Shohei's representatives, and I don't believe it. That's all I'm saying. There's no conclusion other than that I'm jumping to. There's no accusation being made. I'm simply saying that representatives of Shohei, who, Austin, this is now fact, have changed their story within a 24-hour period of a major transaction here. That's fact. They've changed their story, and their second story does not feel believable to me because I don't think that a $4.5 million wire transfer can be done without the principal's approval. That's my opinion. Other than that, I stop right there. We can have a thought about where this might go or why they would be making up a story, but the only thing I will firmly state right now is that they are sharing a story, and I don't believe it. Is that not fair?
That's fair. I just feel like the platform is not objective. And FP, you played the game. I would expect that anytime something comes into a baseball player or a professional athlete, they could be accused of all kinds of things that may or may not end up being the truth. So I think we have to be careful about jumping to conclusions based upon what we're hearing here. That's all I'm saying.
No, dude,
like you guys have already kind of come to an.
He hasn't been accused. He hasn't been accused of anything yet.
No conclusion.
Shohei hasn't been accused of anything yet, and I'm all for if you're justice being served. But there's a connection here. The money came from his account. So if it's just Shohei's interpreter gets busted for gambling and there's a $4.5 million debt, You're like, whoa, these guys hang out a lot, and we could sit here and be gossipy and say, well, you know everything from your best friends doing. You guys hang out all the time. He had to know he was gambling, but the money came from his account. So now there's a direct electronic proof of connection here between the two. And that's where, to me, it gets a little bit weird. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying there's a direct connection now. It's not just a friend of Shohei's that's his buddy, that's his interpreter, that he's been with for years, that drives him to the ballpark, that does all these things for him, and they're really tight, apparently. And by all accounts, this guy's really accepted in the baseball world and loved this Ippei guy. So now there's an electronic evidence of direct correlation between these two. It's not just his buddy got busted for gambling. Shohei's involved now because his money went to the guy that had the debt. It paid off the bookie, basically. That's where I'm going. I'm not saying Shohei gambled. I'm not saying Shohei did anything. Maybe he did his buddy a solid. But we're not just like accusing Shohei of anything. There's a connection here. Does that make any sense? There's a direct correlation between the two because the money came from his account.